So I normally tell stories, and when I tell stories, I need people to give me some feedback, which I hope it's going to come, but I'm not going to know where it's going to come from. So okay, so I'm going to talk about mistakes, and I think why mistakes are beautiful. So what do you think about mistakes? How comfortable are you making mistakes in front of people, with yourself, somewhere out?
It's a learning.
It's a learning, yes. But do you make it? Pura khul ke?
Yes.
Really? Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Karte ho? Okay, I can see somebody far back who says yes. Nice. But normally we are brought up thinking कि नहीं गलतियाँ नहीं करनी है. We don't want to be caught on the wrong foot. We don't want to be proven wrong in any way. फिर हमारी हम छोटे हो जाते हैं. We feel, or ego, of course, as we grow older, it's ego, and we're little, we get either scolded or beaten. No, don't do that. Normally we say no. I think most of us have grown up listening to the word no. But what I want to bring to all of you here today is the story of a beautiful mistake. So if you look at human evolution right from the beginning, some beautiful inventions have been fallouts of mistakes. Are you aware of any? Any inventions that came out of mistakes?
Albert Einstein.
Einstein? Which mistake? Oh my God, I just can't see you. Yeah, can you please expand on that?
Yeah, that E is equal to MC square. He couldn't complete that.
Oh yes. So yeah, you're going to the realm where I'm going to get in physics, but no, absolutely. Thank you very much. But also, if you think about penicillin, no? Do we know the story of how penicillin was invented?
Alexander Fleming.
Yeah, Fleming. He left dirty petri dishes and walked off. And obviously, mistake. He didn't clean up. He should have cleaned up, but he didn't. And he discovered this one petri dish where it was not getting molded. There was no mold happening. And so he discovered there's something that is killing bacteria. And that's how he discovered penicillin. Post-its, similar story. Pacemaker. You know how the pacemaker came about? Anybody? No, okay. There was this there was somebody, I don't recall his name now. He was supposed to create a device which would record the heartbeat. He put the wrong resistor in, and he created a device that started emitting a pulse. And thus a pacemaker was created. And thanks to that, lots of people are now living with a pacemaker in them. So that's amazing, isn't it? Thank you, yes. It is worth an applause, yes. So what I'm going to bring to you today is a very cute, beautiful story which sort of ties up with what is really happening, and it's a cultural phenomenon right now. So a shout out to Latif Nasser. He's a journalist with Radiolab, and I just love listening to his podcast. He's an investigative journalist, of course, science-based journalist. He is of the Connected fame on Netflix, right, if you've ever watched that. So this is his story. So he has a little son, about 2.5 years old. One night, he goes to put his son to bed. And while he's putting him to bed, as people with children know, usually we go into a trance, the kids are jumping about. Around that time, he's put up a poster in his kid's room, yeah, because he's also one of the intellectuals. And on the poster, he notices a tiny object next to Venus. Now, people who know the solar system, are you aware of the two planets that don't have a moon? Okay, it's Mercury and Venus. Don't have a moon, famously. The rest, all of them have moons. Mercury and Venus don't have a moon, and he notices this little dot, and it's marked as a moon, and it's marked as, he reads it, it says Zuwee. So he's wondering, now he's somebody who knows his science, and he knows, like, I think I know my science quite a bit. So he's like, there's something odd about it. The kid falls asleep finally. He goes out, he Googles Zuwee. Kuch nahi milta. Google suggests Zeus, way to go to Zeus. Zuwee, nothing, zero, nada. He's wondering what happened. He goes back in the morning, he checks. It still says Zuwee. Is that even possible? There is no moon. Why is there Zuwee on the poster? So he's thinking. Now he has a friend. He's well connected. He has a friend who is in the media department of NASA for 10 years. So she knows her space and she knows her celestial bodies, right? So he calls her up. Her name's Liz Landau. And he says, Liz, Venus has a moon. She's like, no, dude. Venus does not have a moon. What's wrong with you? I thought you were an intelligent person. No, Venus has a moon. It's called Zuwee. Like, no, dude. There's no such thing as Zuwee. That's not possible. It's there. It's on the poster. No, it's not there. I know what I'm talking about. Like, all right. He goes off. She goes off. Now, this fellow is persistent. He doesn't give up. So he digs up the name of the fellow who made the poster. Now, there's this person called Alex Foster. He lives in the southeast coast of UK. He's the one who's created the poster. He gets in touch with him. He asks, what's with Zuwee? Where did you find it? Like, I Googled it. I found a list of moons that we know of. There was Zuwee on it. Now, this fellow is really confused. He's gone far and wide. He's gone to all the possible astronomical organizations, found what is this Zuwee. Finally, Liz gets back to him after a long time, and she says, you know what? You've been saying Zuwee. I thought, what if it's not Zuwee? So I thought it must be 2002 VE. And she says, I went and looked for it, and it is 2002 VE68. That is a celestial body that is hanging around Venus. And he misread 2002 VE68 as Zuwee, and he named it Zuwee. So, finally, he finds what Zuwee is. But it's not a moon. The story doesn't end here. The beauty continues. Now, Nasser Latif, he's like, okay, you know what? We need to do something about it. Why is it called 2002 VE68? So he digs. So I'm going to ask you to cast your minds back to, some of us over here, we probably remember the mass fear that had happened around 1980 and the early 1990s, where we had a very close shave with an asteroid. We were almost hit, but not. It went the other way, and everybody went into a panic. Like, oh, we're going to get hit. And then we had all those movies come in. We had Armageddon, Deep Impact, all those movies where you had Bruce Willis come in and, shoot something at an asteroid and save the Earth. Very beautiful. That was around the time when all the astronomical organizations around the world decided to keep scanning the skies for possible asteroid impacts, because they had also just about figured out that the dinos were wiped out in the Yucatan because of an asteroid impact. So now it was real, it was palpable. We can get hit by an asteroid and we can get decimated. So this is scary, right? So they start scanning the skies for possible asteroids. And they have these organizations that are looking for possible hazardous asteroids. During one of these scans, somebody finds this object called 2002 VE68, because in 2002, this particular body was observed to be sort of floating around Venus. But it's not really a moon, because it doesn't really follow the same gravitational patterns which normally are followed in the solar system. We know about that, don't we? We know the rules of moon and planets. Anybody? It's an ellipse, yes. And what makes a moon a moon? It orbits what? It orbits a planet, okay. Yes, that's a moon. But the interesting thing about Zuwee is that it does not orbit Venus, but it sometimes leaves Venus and goes off to the sun. So it's a naughty, flirtatious little thing. It's polyamourous. It's not loyal to one planet. It's going around floating about here and there. Yeah, absolutely. Polygamy is its thing. So it keeps floating about, and they're like, okay, what is this? So an entire body that is studying orbits discovers this particular object, and they call it a quasi-moon. A quasi-moon is a body which is not really a moon, but acts like a moon on and off when it feels like it. And that is what is the three-body problem. You are aware of that? Anybody watch three-body problem? Yes. It is this mad thing that is going on where if there are two bodies that are in tandem with each other, the gravitational pull, you can exactly calculate where which body is going to be, which is how we know when the eclipses are going to happen, which is how we know where the moon's going to be, the moon phases, and we plan our stuff around it. But with the third body in place, the math goes completely haywire. And that is what the quasi-moon does. And they discovered this, and this was the first object which scientists found, which was called the quasi-moon, which is 2002 VE68, because right now it's with Venus. The interesting thing is, based on their calculations, some 90,000 years ago, they have calculated that this particular Zuwee was the Earth's quasi-moon. And it went ahead, left us. It's now dancing with Venus. Once in a while, it goes dances with the sun. Moving forward, now they've also discovered that we have a lot of quasi-moons. And they're discovering more and more and more and more quasi-moons, or the third body that is creating a three-body problem. So that's the thing. Now the question comes back to Latif Nasser. He says, this word 2002 VE68 is really boring. It's such an interesting phenomenon. And we have come across this, the three-body problem, and we've come across the quasi-moon. Let's do something about it. So he wants to name it Zuwee. So he goes back to the person. He says, what's the name? 2002 VE68. That's too boring. So he lobbies and lobbies and lobbies, and he finally gets them to. So he wrote a very beautiful, very simple description. I'm going to read it out because it's a quotation. They had to come up with less than 300 character description for the International Astronomical Union. They are the people who name celestial bodies, and there are certain rules. You cannot name them after fruits or vegetables. You cannot name them after your pet or some famous person, because you don't want, Modi 567 coming and hitting Earth at some point, or anybody for that matter. So there are rules, and there is this body that sits and watches over what you're naming these bodies. So there's a 300 character limit, and this is what he wrote. I'm quoting him. As the first quasi-moon ever discovered in the universe, this object deserves a name as rare as its orbit. When artist Alex Foster drew this object on a solar system poster for children, he misread the temporary name 2002 VE as Zuwee, thus coining this original, odd, and memorable name. So it took them 3 to 4 months. They didn't get back to him. He was really on tenterhooks. Kya naam rakhenge? Finally, in February, 2 months ago, they accepted the name Zuwee. And today, if you Google Zuwee, you get this whole story, and it's 2002 VE68, the first quasi-moon discovered by our great scientists and astronomers. Thank you so much. I hope you liked it.